from the News Channel 5 network. This is Open Line.
And welcome into Open Line. I'm Chuck Long, and I'm really glad to be with you for the next hour. One of my very favorite hours here on Open Line. We are talking legal talk for the entire hour, and we're talking legal talk with one of the top lawyers in the state of Tennessee. I'm talking about Kevin Kennedy. I know so many of you follow Kevin. He is from the Kennedy Law Firm, in business over 35 years. This is the night that you get to ask those legal questions that you've been thinking about, that you've been contemplating. This is the night you get to talk to Kevin, and I tell you what, I always tell Kevin it's like going to the University of Kevin Kennedy, because I'm a student when I'm here with Kevin. So let's welcome Kevin Kennedy. Kevin, how are you? It's great to see you.
I'm great. I'm so glad to see you, Chuck. And, the Zoom, it's a part of life right now. I'd love to be there live in the studio, but we're at the Kennedy Law Firm main headquarters in Clarksville, Tennessee tonight. And I'm delighted to be with you and can't wait to share some ideas and some thoughts and some knowledge as we go through the evening for a few moments.
Well, and Kevin, one of the things you talked about, you're at the headquarters at Kennedy, the Kennedy Law Firm. One of the things about the Kennedy Law Firm, and I know we talk about this often when you do the show, is the fact your law firm, you have so much experience. So that's one of the things when people come to you, you have such a broad range, such a wide range of experience. People, there's no question that you guys can't answer.
Well, the truth, Chuck, every day I've been in the business, like you say, more than 35 years, have a nice, large team of lawyers and very competent support staff. But there's never a week goes by, but hardly a day goes by that we don't see a new challenge. And we had one today, and they came in, and I said, tell them to come back and see us in about an hour, because I wanted to ponder it. So if I taught any lesson tonight, discuss that. Discuss the problem. As you are discussing it, you will think in your mind. And sometimes, people say, how did you ever think of that? And I've heard some say, the Lord gave it to me, or he revealed it to me. So constantly talk, constantly evaluate, look back, and it's amazing how options will come. In the law, there's theory and there's facts. And when you put those together, it's a winning formula. You sprinkle it with the experience. And I tell you, the one thing that we preach and teach here and have always, take a proactive, creative approach. And it's amazing how many solutions will come out of that.
Absolutely. Proactive and creative. Like I said, I start taking notes as soon as you start talking, Kevin. Now, if you are just tuning in, if you are just tuning in, this is the hour where you get to ask your legal questions. And, not only does it help a lot of times when you ask those legal questions, but it helps a lot of the viewers, because a lot of people are thinking or wondering about the same thing. And the number's right there on your screen. It's 737-7587. When you have that question, maybe you just want to make a comment. I know we're in very strange times right now. Sometimes just, calling to comment is also a help. But 737-7587 is the number to call with those legal questions, whatever those legal questions are. And like I said, I know Every time Kevin's here, our phones ring off the hook, so it's always a good idea to get online as quickly as you have those questions. We are going to go to the lines right now. Mimi is on the line with us. Mimi, good evening. We're glad that you're joining us. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, my name is Mimi. I'm a tenant of subsidized housing and received something in the mail yesterday saying that my family and I had to evacuate in 14 days. And when I went to the office to find out why, they gave me no exacts. They just said,
Mimi?
Call the lawyer.
Mimi, yes. Can I interrupt you? I got your volume up now. I want to make sure that Kevin hears your whole question. So could you go ahead and just repeat your question if you don't mind?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. My family and I lived in subsidized housing, and we received notice of terminance of tenancy. And they told us we had 14 days to evacuate, and we've never done anything, corrupt. We've been good tenants all along. So when I tried to contact them to find out what the details were to see if we could handle it and get it settled, all they kept telling me was, call the lawyer, call the lawyer, call the lawyer. They won't tell me anything. So my family and I are sitting here wondering exactly what steps we need to take to make sure that we're not spending the holidays outside. Because, we just paid our rent. We've got no idea what the Is it legal for them to be able to just tell us that and not give us any details?
All right, let's go to Kevin.
Here we go. In the state of Tennessee, people have to give you 30 days written notice to vacate. Now, there are a few exceptions. Remember, I've taught you in the law. There's the law, there's exceptions to the law, and there are exceptions to the exception. The first thing I think you should do is get a copy of the lease, and then you can take it to a lawyer. It's not all that complicated. Try to find one and read through it 4 or 5 times, have some family members. But as a general rule, they have to give you 30 days. Now, let me explain one more step. Just because they give you notice does not mean that you're going to be put out immediately. They would still have to, even if they insist that they're bound and determined to break your lease, they still have to file a petition in General Sessions Court. That means you have to have due process and get notice, and then they've got to go to court. So y'all know right now that you can't just do that overnight. They'd have to give you notice, take you to court, and then it would be probably put off for another hearing date. I think the best advice I can give you, something doesn't sound right. Many of the leases now that we see, when people get arrested from a domestic assault or they have drugs in the apartments, then they're going to move on them because it'll say no criminal activity on these premises. Well, what is criminal? Just because somebody got picked up in the parking lot, that doesn't mean you're responsible. So every case is different. We understand their theory, and what their objective is to get you out. Of course, we understand your objective is to stay in and not be put out. So then I think they gave some good advice. Go talk to a lawyer. Read that contract, and you can identify the issues, and then just ask the question to the lawyer. Take a proactive approach. Get your witnesses together, and whatever accusations they come up with when you get there, you be prepared to counter it. Good luck to you, and God bless you. Thank you for the question. We're seeing a host of these everywhere because I anticipate people will put you out, and they're going to be asking for more rent. That's the landlord business.
All right, Mimi, thank you so much for calling in, and I think that's going to help you, so we appreciate that call. Once again, if you are just tuning in, that number's on your screen, and it's there for you with those legal questions that you might have, no matter what those legal questions, whether it's personal injury, medical malpractice, a car accident, family law, bankruptcy, estate planning, whatever area you're looking at, you're wondering about, you can call and talk to Kevin Kennedy right now, live in person. Kevin, you know, one of the things I mentioned, car accidents, and you were talking about being proactive and creative. A lot of times when someone has a car accident and someone comes, you know, to start asking questions, there's an area where I think the person who was in the accident sometimes feels like they need to say more than they do. Can you address that?
Absolutely. The real world is you must protect your own rights. Teach your children, teach your grandchildren, teach your co-workers. If you're involved in an accident and if you've got injuries, make them take you to the hospital to be checked out. One of my close friends at the law firm had a serious car wreck. Her mother called me. I got down there just to check on her. And so I thought everything was being handled. The ambulance was there. Her face was swollen. And then they called me a few minutes later and said they won't take her to the hospital. I said, put those guys on the phone. That girl is hurt. Take her to the... And so they ultimately did. Some days you're going to have to advance. The truth is, be careful on what you say because it will be used against you. All the police now have these little automatic recording devices, and they are recording you. Insurance companies tell their clients, don't admit liability. There's a bunch of gray areas. People want to be nice, but they'll take advantage of you. The insurance company, you can rest assured, just as soon as it happens, that insurance is going to try to take advantage of the situation. I deal with it every day. And what you think is fair, they will not think is fair. And so I see a lawyer immediately, be careful what you say, document, photograph, grab those witnesses. If there's someone there, you try to talk to them. And then perhaps the lawyer can send them a letter and say, hey, this memorializes what you said. Why do we do that, Chuck? Because people over time, they forget exactly what they did say. So I might say, Chuck, this memorialized our conversation when we talked about the wreck that happened on Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard on the 2nd. You told me that the truck ran into the back end of that car and never touched the brakes. Chuck, you'd say, yes. Then I memorialize that in writing. If you ever tried to change your story, I'd say, Chuck, let me see if I can refresh your memory with this writing. When I went to the law school, I topped the law class in the field of evidence. What did I learn? I learned that there's 10 million rules. The insurance company's lawyers, which they're the best, highly skilled just in that particular area of the law, they're going to use every trick to keep the evidence out. And your plaintiff's attorney is going to do everything he can to advance your evidence. So there's two competing events going on, and the guy that has no lawyer, he's killed already. Too many exceptions. Even a very skilled lawyer has his hands full. And so, it was Lou Holtz that said, learn your craft well and give it away for the rest of your life. Well, that doesn't make sense. But the truth is, Chuck, that's why I appreciate you hosting this program each time, because we do have a lot of valuable information to share with the general public. So listen to Kevin Kennedy, the lawyer. Praise the Lord you hadn't had a car wreck today, but if you live long enough, you or one of your family members are going to be involved in a car wreck. And I'll tell you again, have your insurance, keep your insurance card, go over your policy. You want to hear what's going on every day now, Chuck? People are having wrecks and there's no insurance. So make sure you are covered with an uninsured motorist policy. Doesn't cost much, but and that's what protects you. And if you don't have it, you can get killed with the medical costs, can cause you bankruptcy. Let's keep these things and protect us the very best that we can. If you had a wreck, call the lawyer that day or the next day. Get in and see him.
That's right. So don't delay. All right. Great advice as always, Kevin. We appreciate everybody calling in as we start the show. We are going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll get more of your questions here on Open Line. Come on back with us.